Right friends, welcome back to third capsule. This is on capital infusion in public sector banks. Sometimes it is called recapitalization of public sector banks. And let us look at the factual information. Last year, government stated that it will infuse capital to the extent of rupees 25,000 crores each during the financial years 2015-16 and 16-17, and at the same time rupees 10,000 crore 2017-18 and rupees 10,000 crore 2018-19. That means government stated that it will infuse rupees 70,000 crores over a period of 4 years till March 2019. And as per one estimate, total capital required by the public sector banks is to the tune of around rupees 1.8 lakh crores, and rupees 70,000 crores will be given by central government, and banks have to make arrangements from its own resources to mobilize rupees 1.1 lakh crores. But some other estimates state that it is still higher. That means the requirement is much higher than rupees 1.8 lakh crores. And recent news is the central government infused rupees 22,915 crore for recapitalization of banks. And top 3 banks which got more capital are State Bank of India because of its size. Naturally, State Bank of India got rupees 7,575 crores, and at the same time the second highest is Indian Overseas Bank, rupees 3,101 crores, and the third highest is Punjab National Bank at rupees 2,816 crores. And if you look at the capital infusion in other banks, you can go through these slides. Some of the major funds given by the central government include Bank of India's rupees 1,784 crores, Central Bank of India's rupees 1,729 crores, and Syndicate Bank got rupees 1,034 crores. Total rupees 22,915 crores of capital infusion was announced by the government. And here you may ask a pertinent question: what is meant by recapitalization, and why the public sector banks require money for their operations? And before going into it, all of you should understand what is meant by non-performing asset. One is a standard asset, second one is non-performing asset. In the banking system, asset means a loan. Banks' business is to collect deposits and at the same time giving loans. When banks are giving loans, then as long as the borrower is paying back, that is known as a standard asset. And if the borrower fails to pay back either interest or principal or both for 90 days, that means if the borrower is not able to pay back and beyond 90 days, that asset or that loan is termed as non-performing asset. So, standard asset, opposite is non-performing asset. And there is further classification. Non-performing assets are bifurcated into substandard assets during the first 12 months. Beyond that, doubtful asset. And when the loss is identified and declared as a loss asset, then there is another classification, loss asset. So, non-performing assets are classified or they are bifurcated depending on the time period and depending on the action taken by the concerned bank as substandard assets, doubtful assets and loss assets. So, one side standard asset, other side non-performing assets, 3 categories: substandard, doubtful and loss asset. So, the question here is, when the loan is classified as non-performing, banks are required to keep more money aside from their profits, right? So, nowadays what happened, gross non-performing assets or otherwise bad loans are increasing. When the bad loans are increasing, then what will happen? Banks have to keep aside more money from their profits. And please go through this slide. First one is asset quality review. Reserve Bank of India under Raghuram Rajan strictly instructed all the banks to complete asset quality review. Under asset quality review, what banks are required to do? Banks are required to announce bad loans and categorize bad loans depending on the categorization, they have to keep certain money aside, which is known as provisioning. So this provisioning will increase depending on the categorization of the bad loan, right? And this provisioning also depends on the type of asset. You see, the risk depends on the type of loan. If the bank is giving house loan, the risk is less. If the bank is giving mortgage loan, the risk is slightly higher. If the bank is giving corporate loan, the risk is still higher. If the bank is giving personal loan, the risk is much more higher. If the bank is giving credit card advance, the risk is much more higher. So here the risk depends on the type of loan. Depending on the risk, banks have to keep provisioning or certain money aside. So the provisioning depends on the type of risk. Then second thing is, provisioning depends on the type of non-performing asset like substandard asset, then doubtful asset or restructured asset, or you can say or a loss asset. So depending on the risk of loan, at the same time depending on the categorization of non-performing asset, banks have to keep more money aside. So first, Reserve Bank of India strictly instructed asset quality review, which resulted in more bad loans. Hence more bad loans, that's why banks have to keep more money aside from profits. So as they are keeping more money and taking out more money from profits, they are into losses in recent times. So they require more capital because of bad loans. That is one thing. Second thing is, to increase their credit, they require more money, right? So for all these things, that means especially because of more provisionings because of bad loans, and at the same time to increase the credit, they require more capital, right? So here I am introducing one more term, capital adequacy ratio. So here please look into this slide. Capital adequacy ratio, or other name is capital to risk weighted assets ratio, is nothing but bank's capital in the numerator and risk weighted assets in the denominator. As I have already told you, because of more bad loans, banks are reporting losses. As banks are reporting losses, the capital of banks is eroding day by day. That is one aspect. Second aspect is, to increase their loan portfolio or to give more credit, they require more capital. Now, the capital to risk weighted assets ratio or capital adequacy ratio, both are one and the same, is nothing but capital in the numerator divided by risk weighted assets in the denominator. So each and every loan is given some risk factor, and each and every loan multiplied by that risk factor will be kept in the denominator. The risk for house loans will be less, the risk for commercial loans will be high, the risk for personal loans will be very high. Like that, one risk factor will be given for each and every loan, and this risk factor multiplied by loan is kept in the denominator. And if you look at the numerator by denominator multiplied by 100, then you will get percentage. So as per Basel III norms, this capital to risk weighted assets ratio must be 8%. But Reserve Bank of India stipulated it should be 9% and to be achieved by 31 March 2019. So banks require more money nowadays because of bad loans, because their capital is being eroded because of losses. Second thing is, more money is required to expand their credit portfolio or to give more loans. So for that purpose, banks require more money. Government is infusing some money because government is the major shareholder. More than 51% is held by government. That's why they are called public sector banks. So government's responsibility is to ensure capital adequacy ratio of 9% by March 2019. So here I have given why capital adequacy ratio is to be maintained. It is required to protect banks from excessive risks due to default of loans. certain capital adequacy ratio is kept, that is 9% is kept, because if some borrowers default, banks should not collapse. That's why capital to risk weighted assets ratio is kept as 9%. This is basically to keep the banking system solvent. Banks should not fail, and it is also to protect bank depositors and financial system as a whole, and risk of each loan is calculated by giving some weightage, as I have already told you. Right. So, this is all about capital adequacy ratio, and for that purpose banks require more money nowadays, and central government recently announced giving around 23,000 crores of rupees to public sector banks for infusing capital, or you can say for maintaining capital adequacy ratio of 9% by March 2019. And finally, if you want, what are the problems faced by public sector banks? One is a high percentage of gross non-performing assets and stressed assets, then reduction in CASA ratios. For public sector banks except State Bank of India, CASA ratios are falling day by day. CASA ratio is very important when you look at the profitability of the banks, and the capital required for recapitalization is also very high, and public sector banks are suffering because of poor credit appraisal mechanism, and at the same time political interference is also there in public sector banks. Right friends, have a nice day. Thank you.